Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
And welcome back to the Agony of Positivity podcast. So you don't have to. They don't use that anymore. That instance is gone, so I can say that now.
Is it gone?
Yeah, he stopped it a while ago. I am Ross, joined by.
I am Saul.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
a little heartbroken that the instance is gone now. Huh?
Well,
I've listened to it in years, so I mean,
right.
You know, how
I think
heartbroken
what
I
had
am.
happened is they were. I can't remember the timeline, but especially like all the crazy Blizzard stuff.
Yeah.
I think that kind of took because you got to imagine like that was basically like as close as you could get to like a We Love Blizzard podcast because they talk about like other Blizzard
they
stuff.
were very much shilling for Blizzard, yes.
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, you just had people who really liked the game, so they were very positive of it. And they knew a lot of people, or Scott Johnson, I think, knew a lot of people involved with it, and then you find out some of the horrible things that came out, and it's like, oh, I'm sure he knew some of those people.
Yeah.
And then combine that with, there was the whole thing with Terpster, going back to that whole thing. It might have just became like a podcast that kind of left a bad taste, and then I think they turned it into more of a variety show, but they do the core show, which is already a video game variety show. So that ended, but it was kind of strange because like I didn't listen to it a ton. Like I'd go on spurts here and there, but I mean that was one of the, I mean, that's like a template for WoW podcasts in a way. Like that was the first big one that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I stopped listening to it because it started getting a little. Scott Johnson's political agenda, his viewpoint started creeping in, so that's why I stopped listening to it.
Let's see, but yeah, so I'm gonna steal so you don't have to, even though it doesn't make any sense. Like because I haven't heard him use it on anything else. I only listen to one other show that he does, which is Core, which is really good if you like just random video game stuff.
Sure.
So let's see here. How was your week?
Training 18 to 21-year-olds.
How to clean carpets and rugs.
And so I was training them how to use a floor machine.
Yeah. Now, is this the one that has like it's a big circle and it rotates clockwise or counterclockwise, like one of those styles? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like when you see like, for people who don't know, like imagine sitcoms when they're like sanding floors or something with the big circle thing that flies off and goes into the wall. It's basically that for carpet.
Floor buffers, basically. Yeah. So I was training them, and they all hate it to use it because they understand the mechanics of if you push up, it goes one way. You push down, it goes the other way.
Like if you lift it, the top part of the rotation will carry it wherever the top of the rotation is. So if it's going clockwise, up is going to send it to the right because that's the way. And if you go down, you're at the bottom of the rotation.
And like I was telling them, like it's all about balance, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, you could actually make this into a karate movie type thing, where like a training montage of balance is basically is how you use it. So anyway,
well, it's the right amount of resistance or force to stabilize it. Because I mean, you showed me how to use it when I started there, and it took me a couple days to get it good. And even then, when you're good, if you like kind of get lax, all of a sudden it's like going 4 feet to the side, and you're like, whoop. And that's the exact noise you make too, is you go, whoop.
So I was teaching them, and this one kid, I mean, he's the youngest, and you could tell he's the least enthusiastic about working there.
Right.
And he's like, well, do you just want to do these? Clean these? I was like, I already know how to use the floor machine, man. Yeah, but I think I have a pretty good idea how to use it. I was like, I don't think you do. I was like, so you're going to keep doing it. Or I guess you can just go home if you don't want to clean. And he
Right.
just looked at me and kind of, did his typical young man.
Right.
I was like, you. I heard, and, he did it right in front of me, and I guess he didn't think I was going to respond back to him. I was like, buddy, you can get all mad. I'm like, you can leave right now if you want. I'm like, I don't care. I don't. I
Like,
really don't
I'm
want
here
to
till the same time, whether you're here or not.
Well, I was like, I'm like, and I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't want to train you. So if you don't want to learn, I'm fine with that.
Right. Well, I mean,
So it got better. So
well, it's funny because, so I have no problem with people who get jobs and don't want to kill themselves for the job.
Sure.
Now, I do think when you're joining a very small, privately owned business,
yeah,
that you should give that a little bit more seriousness. And like my experience with like your boss, or he used to be mine, was he's not a horrible boss, like by any stretch, compared to other bosses I've had. But yeah, like you have a bigger impact on a place like that that's a smaller business. Now pay and all that goes into it, but yeah, like now if you get a job at like Taco Bell, which is a giant corporation that's making lots of money and they're paying you minimally, I have way less problems with somebody just like getting by there.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, I just want to explain that, like, we're not these kids just don't want to work nowadays. Like, I would say we're probably actually the opposite. Although there is a case by case basis.
we're definitely. I'd say you and me are definitely pro worker.
Yes. Considering we have hated almost every job we've ever had, so because of that garbage.
One would say maybe we're the problem.
No. I'm gonna say not.
I got a cool story, a quick story to tell. Positivity.
Okay.
So yesterday I went to Speedway and I'm paying for my gas and everything, and I go out and get in the car and we drive to another county basically, and I realized that I left my wallet.
Did you move to Kentucky because now you're talking about counties?
Well, this is our
South.
area,
Yeah, right.
County. So just show you the distance, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So I'm like, I realized that I don't have my wallet with me, and the last place I used my wallet was Speedway. I was like, yeah, great. So we drive back, and I'm with my dad. My dad's like, oh, your wallet's probably gone. I was like, thanks, Dad, for
thanks for the positivity.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe we'll see. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's possible, but it's like it's a good chance it's probably gonna be gone. I was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So we get there, and I think I had like $40 in there. I normally don't have money in my wallet, but I was like, yeah, $40 is probably gone if anything, and they probably just threw the wallet back in the. In any case, so I get there and I asked, I was like, hey, you guys have? Did you guys find a wallet here? And the guy's like, yeah, what's your name? And I said, name Solomon. He's like, okay, yeah. He's like, what? He's like, what happened was an old man said he saw your wallet fall on the ground and drive off, and he was trying to chase down your truck, but you guys just kept driving, so he just gave it to us. And he's like, yeah. And so I checked it, and the money was still in there. And it's a good Samaritan.
That's good.
Good Samaritan.
There was a guy, I think it was a YouTube video, who did like a test of where he like made up a bunch of wallets that had like a certain amount of money in them.
Yeah.
And like a whole lot of them, like way more than you would expect, got returned, I think, with like the money still in them. So I can tell you, if you would like to hear, it's a horrible story, but kind of funny because it's the exact opposite of this. Or we can get into the show.
I was trying to do it on a positivity mark, but I mean, hey, if you want to break us down, Ross, go ahead.
I kind of do, because I'll never have the opportunity to tell this story.
Go ahead.
Now, the moral of this story is going to be guilt. So I worked with a guy who something happened. So I was working at an Arby's at the time, and something happened, and like somebody left their wallet, and we held it and gave it back to him, kind of thing. Which, not a big deal. That kind of stuff happens from time to time. And it reminded this guy of, he's like, oh man. And he just didn't look right. And I was like, what's wrong? And he was like, I just remembered something that I did, and I feel real bad about it. And then, so he told me. So I guess him and a friend of his were in line inside at a McDonald's, and there was a guy that was at the counter and had his wallet out, and I guess the guy started having like a seizure or something, and wallet fell to the ground. Everybody's paying attention to this guy, and his buddy, like the wallet fell to the ground. He picks up the wallet and pulls a 20 out of it, and he's said that he looked at his friend. He was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And the guy was like, "I'm tipping myself for holding his wallet so nobody steals it." And he was like, there was a silence for a while, and then he said, "Well, tip me too, because I'm going to help." So they basically took like $40 out of this dude's wallet while he was having a seizure, and he was like, basically his moral was like, I don't think there's anything I regret more in my life than that moment. Sure. Don't steal from people, because if you have a conscience, it'll eat you up 20 years later as you're working your job and a random thing happens.
Well, I think karma pays you back, because he was working at a fast food restaurant. So
it was actually a second job. Like, he literally ate there because he would see if he could eat his body weight in ham and roast beef every day. Like, he worked like 2 days a week, but
I love roast beef.
To be fair, like, I was like bodybuilding basically at the time. And man, I supplemented my diet with Arby's food, and it was awesome. I got like massive. It was great. So there's a life hack for you. If you need additional protein at no charge, eat somewhere where you can sneak off and eat hunks of meat at a time. All right.
I just picture you guys going in the back of the refrigerator and grabbing big old roast beef things. And
so basically what it would be is, so I was super overworked there. Like, I would take care of like the entire back line, like during lunch and breakfast. And so I could basically kind of do whatever, because there was no way I was going to eat as much money as I was theoretically saving them on labor cost. And I would just constantly be like, that doesn't look right. I better test this. And I would just eat like ham or roast beef. Like, those were my two go-tos. Turkeys, meh.
So someone told me, since you worked at Arby's, you probably can. I hope this is not true. I'm 99% sure this is not true, but there's always that 1% chance where the guy was telling the truth. He's like, Arby's, their meat, all they have is like big bags of just basically broth, and they put it in the microwave, and then it forms into a beef thing. And I was like,
that's ridiculous. No. Now, unless this has changed. Now, it is basically like your roast beef that you're getting on like your sandwiches. It is like a almost like a ground, or like, it's hard to explain because like it's a big mess. Like, it comes wrapped in a plastic bag. So you take your knife and you got to cut down the center and then the sides, and you basically like kind of flop it out. But it's the closest thing I can think of to compare it to is like kind of like how hamburger starts out like mushy. Gotcha. And then once you cook it, it becomes solid. So that's like kind of how it goes. So it starts out like this weird consistency. Then you bake it for, I forget how long it was in the oven. But you put it in the oven, and then when you pull it out, like you put your temperature thing in it, and like basically you have like a warming cabinet, because it's one of the, like, you don't want it to sit for too long. Like, you still have like your throw out time where it's like, okay, this has sat too long. And then you're like, dude, I'm throwing away 3 pounds of roast beef. This seems wasteful. But nope, that's how it works. And then you just put it on the slicer and slice it up. But overall, like, again, this is going back like over a decade, the quality of stuff that Arby's had, like, that's why Arby's is so expensive, is they were spending a decent amount of money on, like, their bread was pretty good, their meat was a reasonable quality. Now, it all came like kind of preformed or whatever, and you had to slice it up, except the ham. The ham looked like what you would expect ham to look like, but like the chicken was like a big lump chicken breast kind of thing, but it was tasty too. So yeah, I always thought their food was like a pretty high quality.
Well, and I was like, it's probably, and like I said, I never worked at Arby's. So is it kind of like when you go to a store and you order lunch meat, and it comes in a big old pack of... Yeah,
or like the big... like the tube almost. Like, you'll see a tube. Yeah, it's a whole lot like that. Like the only difference being like the roast beef, they actually, you start cooking it each morning.
Yeah, like I told him, I was like, it's still meat. It's just it's formed in a way where it's easy to cut and everything.
Yep. Yeah, because you basically had like a big loaf of roast beef, and then it's on the slice. Like used to like ours, you could see the slicer from the front, so you could see me slicing the roast beef and then weighing it out on the sandwich.
Talk for a minute. I have to take a phone call.
Oh yeah, we'll pause. We'll be back in just a moment.
I really like it.
Here we go.
Oh, covered, and there's so much more.
All right, we are back.
I really like our distracting
station.
Yeah.
It's still funny because that is literally me recording off the radio.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that as I wheeled through, it landed on that, and there's so much more. And it's probably my greatest accomplishment the entire time we've done the podcast, I think. Maybe the Garth Brooks ICP thing. That might...
so that's not pre-planned. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
Huh?
First try.
Wow.
Like, I was messing, like, I found, like, an old radio and was just sitting on the floor and recorded it with my phone.
Yeah.
I did one just to make sure that it would give me that right, like, scanning through on, like, the old dial thing. And then I was like, all right, here we go. And I turned it to AM, and it just did that. I was like, well, that's perfect. There used to be more in the beginning, but I cut some of that off. So some behind the scenes there for you. Yeah, no, it's I thought about, because there was one of the free sound websites where it's basically just a community that makes like clips or whatever. Like when we do our Halloween intro, like the gravel, the truck, the cart, like all that stuff came from like that site. I keep meaning to upload that to there for people to use if they want it, because there was like no selection, and I think that's like a really good one. So yeah. Now if anyone listening is doing a podcast and are like, oh, that is really good, let me know. I'll set it up to where you can get it, because it's probably, I think that's the best station change you can get for coming back.
Our listeners don't like talking to us, so
which is fine. We just talk at them, and it's preferable. There's no like, you said this and it offended me, which is amazing. Talking about wrestling and video games.
We had a Facebook page that I set up, and someone was talking to us, but I haven't checked it in such a long time.
Facebook is hard.
Facebook is old, and this is coming from an old person. It's old tech. MySpace was a lot better.
Yes. At the time, like, I was not into MySpace. My wife was. But I was like, this is a lot of work. And then Facebook, I was like, this is the opposite. And I didn't like Facebook, though, immediately either. Like, I tried for, like, a brief period. And then it was like, well, it won't let me change my birthday anymore. So I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I still think name on a page, where it's just your name on a page. And you can change your font. You can change the color. And then you can list other people's names that you know, but that's all it does. Like, there's no messaging, there's no pictures. It's just your name on a page.
Someone told me that they're like, Facebook is not meant to put out your political opinions or whatever else. And I was like, well, what's it for then? Is it just have your name on there? I mean, I don't. Anything
where you share your opinion, Twitter or whatever, like there's going to be people who use it for other stuff. Like, the reality is Facebook is meant to make somebody money.
Sure. But that's my whole point, though. I don't understand. So if you're saying that Facebook is meant to have your opinions out there, or Twitter or whatever, then what is it? Well, what is it for? Like Twitter, I can see being used as a news network because I use it a lot during this whole Russian-Ukraine thing to find out news and everything. So I get that part, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's meant to share your opinion and crap. So.
Yeah, I don't know what else it would be. I mean, you would think that there are people who have like super extreme ideas.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's going to be a very few group of people who agree with you. Mm-hmm. But I guess they're broadcasting to that group. But just know that it's going to cause you problems in real life. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it gets back to that. Like, the people are like, well, I thought you had free speech or something. It's like, it always comes back to like, yeah, you can say what you want. That doesn't mean there's not a consequence to it. Like,
I think people should be allowed to say whatever they want. If you want to be the most racist person out there, so be it. You're an idiot,
right?
and you could have your opinions or whatever. And I think you should be allowed to share your opinions, even though they're just dumb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but I mean, there's going to be consequences to that. Like, if you stand up on a street corner and announce your opinions, especially like that one, if you're just like going on a racist tirade, there's a good, like, you're free to say that, and someone else, even though it's illegal, is free to come up and punch you in the face.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, you can do whatever you want, but know that people have the right to do whatever they want, whether it be legal or illegal.
Well, yeah, because until they've done it, it's not illegal. So
sure.
there's that brief window where what they're doing is okay, and then it's like, oh no, it's not.
I've always been a person to believe that I'd much rather have a person tell me how they feel about me. Just be upfront than be backstabby and lie behind my back. I hate people like that.
Being all sneaky.
I'd rather you just say, I don't like you. I think you're a jerk. And I know how they feel about me. And this,
right. We're like, oh, well, then I'll just not talk to you. And then that eliminates everybody's problem. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you do like the dust your hands off thing, and that's it. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's get into some AEW, maybe some WWE stuff. Here we go.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue knee pads.
This is a revolution.
Knee pads. The way he says the knee pads gets me too.
You really should get the clip of Daddy Magic.
Daddy Magic?
Daddy Magic.
Daddy.
When he's like, do you really want to know what turns me on? And then Tony Schiavone goes, no. that was the greatest thing I've heard in a while.
Somewhere in, like, from the formation of JAS to where it is now. Because I like 2.0. Like, they were growing on me. As far as on-screen characters. But it's definitely better now. Like, because those got, like, 2.0 is basically, like, this is perfect for them. Like, the over-the-top, everything.
Well, my sister was like, they're just annoying. I was like, they're meant to be annoying.
Yes. And it's like to me, it's the good annoying, where it's like, that is the most, like, you can tell there's, like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just that good. I hope not, for their family's sake. It's possible they're just that good at being obnoxious. But it's almost like, it feels like some things are, like, workshopped. Like, when Garcia will, like, put the hat on backwards, or, like, some of his mannerisms, it's like, he had to work on that to be like, hey, guys, come here. Which would be more annoying to you, if I do this or this?
They remind me of kids from the 1990s in my high school. I mean, they act just like them. I mean, I think that's what Jericho's going for, I guess.
Yeah, like, he was like, oh, all the, like, the 30 to 40-year-olds, they're going to see this, and this is going to irritate them.
Yes.
I just can't wait for Jake Hager to become, like, a YouTuber. And he'll just, like, make the clickbait face in the background all the time and be like, you're not going to believe, and just, like, make up stuff. Oh, that'd be great.
It's funny. Jake Hager's wife could actually fit very well into this group because she is very annoying. And I don't know. I think she does it on purpose.
Right.
On her Instagram page. I think she would fit. I think they need to bring her in because I think she would do a very good job with this group.
Well, she showed up a couple times, like, early on in his run, and did a little bit of on-screen stuff, and she seemed to, like, you would think, you could convince me that she was, like, a pro wrestler with not, like, a ton of experience.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be hard. So.
Well, she does shoot matches on her Instagram page against Jake Hager, so, I mean.
That's impressive. Because, like, I mean, he's not the most exciting guy, but he's basically Jericho's heavy. But from an athletic fighting, like, he's legit, and he's a
Sure.
big dude, so that would be hard. Like,
Sure.
him taking it easy on you
Yeah.
would probably still be harder than, like, just the average person going full, I bet.
Sure.
Just from the wrestling background, it's like, oh, you can't. You're trying to take down, like, a 6'4" or whatever he is dude that knows how to sprawl. Good luck if you're not like. I mean, like, I'm sure, like, someone at, like, Kurt Angle's level, no problem. But
Yeah.
let's see. So we'll start with Dynamite, or actually, WWE. Have you heard? Like, I guess Roman's taken some time off for, like, a lighter schedule for a while.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I guess he said it on a house show or something like that.
Yeah, he said something like that, and then I guess he's not scheduled at the next thing to defend the belt, but then at Money in the Bank he is. So, I mean,
Hope he's a better actor than his cousin there.
well, I don't know that he's doing, like, a movie or anything.
Oh,
Like-
I heard that he was, like, exploring Hollywood.
Huh?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I don't know.
Taking a break. Let's find out what Google tells us. I'm sure
Oh, I'm sure it'll be
he
completely
is set to take
facts.
this is from old Meltzer. Reigns is looking set to take the summer off.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be like a film or a
I
movie
know
or
he-
something.
I know he was in Hobbs and Shaw, I think.
Was he?
I think. I want to
Yeah.
say he was one of Roman's cousins in there, or one of The Rock's cousins in there. Which isn't that how it is in real life?
Well, what a shock. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, I mean, he's been running pretty hard since he got the belt. So,
Oh yeah.
I'd say the guy
Well,
deserves a break. Because you got to figure,
well,
too,
I
their
think
house
he-
show schedule is insane when you think about it.
He's been a champion since the pandemic started, hasn't he?
Somewhere in there, I can't remember the exact timeline. WWE during the pandemic was, like, AEW was a hard watch at times. I felt like WWE was almost impossible.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing will surpass the everybody around ringside slapping on the hockey glass. Like, holy moly, was that terrible.
That's how Vince McMahon sees us.
I
Annoying.
haven't seen very many people in the crowd on the occasion I watch WWE that show a quarter of that enthusiasm.
Yes.
Like, does he think, like, Austin Gunn is what everybody's like?
I think Vince McMahon. I mean, how they ran the pandemic with their artificial crowds
Yeah.
is how Vince McMahon sees us.
Well, there's, like, the amount of... Did you see... So, when I initially read about this, I was like, that is ridiculous. And then I forgot about it because I was so... After the instant, like, are you kidding me? And then I wasn't surprised. There was at one of the... I don't know if it was the event they did over the weekend, the Premium Live event, or if it was a Raw or a SmackDown or something, but they had cut to a crowd reaction, and the actual video, because like, you can kind of tell sometimes they're pumping in sound of some kind into the feed, because it
Yes.
just doesn't match what's happening, or they'll
There's
turn
that
volume.
sometimes, all the time.
Right. Sometimes I can tell for sure. Other times I'm like, well, they could be
Yeah.
doing that. Like, sometimes they get it right where it's like, I'm suspicious because of everything else, but I can't prove it here. And other times you're like, there's absolutely no way. Like, not a single person in the crowd's clapping and there's a clap going on. It's like, no, that's not how it
Yes,
is.
yes.
But the actual, like, footage they showed was from an old event, like from, like, Cena era. And it was
Sure.
like, so now not only are they, like, sweetening the crowd noise, so to say, they're literally showing different crowds. And I was like, that's insane. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, we're obviously, like, in the hardcore category of fans for sure. But,
Sure.
like, have you read, like, the trip reports of WWE events where they're like, it goes to commercial and, like, the wrestlers like just basically go outside the ring and wait, or whatever. Like, no, that's not an all the time thing. Like, it's basically like, oh, heel takes a powder outside the ring, and then like they'll just wait until they're back on TV before they get back in the ring or something.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, AEW at least has picture in picture, so they're kind of more compelled to do stuff in the picture in picture.
Yeah.
And I think they would probably still wrestle because they clearly focus on the live crowd a decent amount.
Sure.
And from all the reports I've read, like, not only does Tony Khan come out and yell at you, but like, you know, like the ring announcer or the referees kind of interact with the fans like during commercial breaks or in between matches or whatever, trying to like keep the crowd into it, as opposed to nothing. And then I guess WWE shows a lot of commercials to the live crowd, which is hilarious. Like, dude, it just like I just don't read stuff that makes me want to go to a WWE event at all. Yeah. Whereas I don't like being around a lot of people, so that keeps me from going to AEW events. But I think about it.
Sure.
Like, the end result is they're not getting my live ticket money, but one of them I would consider giving it to. The other, there's no chance.
I went to a WCW. It might have been live, maybe. And I like, because I think so. Scott Hall was in the ring.
Yeah.
And so they went to commercial break. And then Scott Hall, you know, he gets thrown out of the ring or whatever. So he was playing off like he was like basically like catching his breath or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was over there like just smoothing it out, not smoothing it out, smoozing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Schmooze.
Schmoozing it up with the crowd.
Yeah.
And then when the TV came back on, he got back in the ring and started wrestling again. So
well, Scott Hall's not taking a bump off camera.
Sure. So I understand. Like, why do I want to kill myself if no one's going to see it? So I get that, but
or like usually it's like heat on the babyface where they're basically just getting stomped and kicked like it's nothing high impact. Now AEW again, they're playing to the live crowd, so they go harder, but they're also doing it once a week unless they're taking outside bookings. So, but yeah, like. Yeah, I can't remember, like, because I've been to a bunch of Raws. I went to a couple Nitros, like WCW pay-per-views, WWE pay-per-views. Like, I've been to a lot of different wrestling. And, like, that stuff, I really can't remember anything standing out during commercial breaks.
Sure.
So, but let's get to this week's Dynamite, because nothing else, I really, like, I know they have the premium live event this week, and I didn't even almost watch it. Just to be like, I knew it was on, and I was like, I just can't. I mean, there was nothing that I casually heard about to hype me into watching it.
I mean, not even with Cody Rhodes.
Well, the thing is, that was the first match, I think, of the night. Yeah. So once I remember, like, there was probably that, like, maybe I'll catch it, and then like I got involved doing something like, I took the trash out instead, kind of thing. If that tells you my priority. I was like, well, I would kind of like to see that. And it was the first match, I believe, and it had already finished, and I accidentally saw the result. I was like, well, crap. There goes that. Yeah. So, because I do try to pay a little bit of attention to Cody. I'm doom watching for Cody, basically, because I'm expecting them to do something stupid with him. And it's one of those, like, it will be 3 years from now when it happens, and I won't be as bad as some people. Like, I knew they'd do this, but, like, dude, he had a 3-year run. I think that's fair enough. Like,
oh yeah. I mean,
there's a point where you're just
people can't be on top forever. I mean, I get that.
Yes, but there will be people that, like, if he could go on a run. He could be the guy to beat Reigns for the belts, and then have like a bunch of defenses, have some really good feuds, him lose the belt to like a new up and comer, even like not lose it to Brock. Like he could beat Brock during his time. Then there's some new guy that he loses to, and people are like, I knew they'd ruin him. Like, dude, he just had like a legitimate run. Like, I think, like in that situation, it would be like, oh, if you were in AEW and you were going to get a 1.5 or 2 year run really good in WWE, I think that'd be fair. And then sure, yeah, maybe they mess you up after that. But if you get like that strong of a run, that's fine.
Sure.
Like, I mean, he doesn't have to be like on top for the rest of his life. Like, that's not what counts as successful.
Now, if he starts fighting for the 24/7, then yes.
Well, yeah, if it's like in 2 weeks from now he's going for that, yes. But if he has like a super good run for a year, and then he's like screwing around with that, yeah, it's definitely bad. But I don't think they ruined him at that point.
Sure.
Depending on how they do it. I mean, if they give him like the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior treatment while he's there, then yes, maybe that's bad. But
I think he's lying when he says there's no precondition. I think there's a precondition of him winning the championship.
I hope there is, because he's talking about bringing the Winged Eagle belt back, and
sure,
that should happen for sure.
Well, it's great.
Because man, I don't know. I never thought I'd have such strong opinions on world titles, like how they look.
WWE is I mean, I think New Mexico, like the AAA Federation there, I think their belts look better than some of WWE's belts.
Yeah, well, and like you had shown me,
because at least their belts have tradition attached to it. So
where WWE's just a big corporate logo.
Yeah, it looks like something like a little kid made or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not bad because like all the sport teams have it, so they're getting almost like free advertising in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, and we're old fashioned, so obviously we're gonna look at like, you know, the NWA title, IWGP title, like the old WWE belts, AEW's belt.
Well, for example, like if so you like you said, WWE gives that championship to actual real teams. Do you think like the Patriots, for example, is going to display that? And no, the thing looks cheesy as hell.
Yeah,
but
the players might.
If it looked at like the AEW championship, we'll just say,
yeah,
there might be a chance it might make it into the display thing for all their championships. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, or like I mean, it's so their belt looks so corporate.
Yeah.
Whereas like I mean, all the belts have like the company on them, but there's something around it in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So if we won a championship and like AEW contacted us and like, hey, we're going to send you like a belt, like, could you send me a replica of the women's belt? Because I kind of like it better than the men's title at this point. Like, I think
really?
It's close, but I think that's a very sharp title.
I mean, it looks good. I think it looks better than great, definitely better than TNT or TBS. Because anything, like you say, anything with logos, it just looks cheesy as hell.
Well, because like that's the network title, clearly.
Yeah.
Like, which I mean, they've been so far, other than Rampage being on at 2:30 in the afternoon if you're West Coast, which is hilarious. Like other than some of that stuff, which they knew going into it how it was going to be, they've been TBS and TNT or whatever, Turner, this has been pretty good to them. So I get having like the network title kind of thing. So, but yeah, like those belts are definitely big like marketing things.
Get the HBO Max championship.
You know how awesome that would be if they did that? Like,
sure.
And it's going to be an intergender belt, so the TNT and the TBS champion have a match, and the unified version is the HBO Max belt, or just the Max title.
Yes, the Max title.
There you go.
I think the only character
Tony Khan, just send a check.
I think the only character in AEW who could pull that off is Ricky Starks, because he has the FTW championship.
Oh yeah, add that into it. Yeah, three-way.
Yeah,
three-way. It can be intergender, whatever.
Yeah, the Max belt.
Speaking of Ricky Starks, him and Jungle Boy. We'll get to them. Let's see. So this week's Dynamite I thought was much better than last week's.
No.
I know that's a low bar. Because, man, but there was some good stuff on this. So let's see. We got Cole and Dax had a pretty good match. Like basically, it's your old school wrestling match. They had Martha Hart in attendance. She always either looked very surprised that she was on camera or not thrilled to be there. I could not tell what, or she knew she was on camera, so she was anxious about it, kind of thing.
I don't know, because she always had that look in WWE too. So who knows?
Yeah, well, and I mean, it could also be like, it's honoring Owen, so I could see where it would be kind of an emotional thing, like with composure or whatever. But I just laughed every time she was on screen because I was like, I don't know, like, But I mean, there's all kinds of emotions, I'm sure, for her going on with it. So,
Sure.
What did you think of Adam Cole, who you could say is a Shawn Michaels guy, beating Dax with the sharpshooter?
Well, and they play that up too with the super kick and the sweet chin music.
Yeah.
And I think Dax should have won this.
I definitely would have liked to see him. I mean, for the bad guy to beat him like that, the way Dax sold like the ribs and all that, it told a very straightforward, solid story. So I'm okay with it. But I do now wonder, is Adam Cole going to be the Shawn Michaels guy that wins the Owen?
Yeah, I didn't really think of it like that. I mean, he would have to really just play it up as the Shawn Michaels guy, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really see him. I don't see him being able to pull that off.
I mean, he has the right beard structure to be Shawn Michaels.
Yes, but he don't have the right personality to be Shawn Michaels.
He's got bits
Shawn
of it.
Michaels,
he could be annoying, though.
Not like Shawn Michaels, though.
Yeah, this is true.
Shawn Michaels, what was annoying is like he was good.
Yeah,
and you knew he was good, but he was also kind of
not the best person.
Jerk.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I'm okay with it. I personally, it had got to the point where it was like, man, I'd kind of like Dax to win it. But I don't think it's not wrong that Cole won, but I definitely was rooting for Dax.
So who do you think the Joker is? Some people are saying it's Davey Smith.
Davey Hart Smith, yep. That's the most likely thing, I guess. The only other thing I could think of is because it's Joe, is the big guy.
Miro?
No, what's his face? The big guy that's with Jay Lethal. Singh? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only other thing I could think of, but I think they know that the crowd would rebel against that.
Oh, that's talking about booking in the guy not in a great start, yeah.
Yeah, like putting it. Now, if Joe beat him, it's one thing, but if he beats Joe, I think people are going to be like, "Oh, this is too much, too quick. Like, we need to see more before you do this route."
Yeah, I would almost rather have Miro myself.
Yes,
but I understand having Davey Smith there.
Yeah, like that'd be a thing, and then like Joe can lose because of a distraction or interference or something.
But my only issue with that one would be if you're going to have Davey Smith. Well, no, because if you're going to play up Adam Cole being the Shawn Michaels, Davey Smith.
Yeah, I could see that route. But yeah, that's what like a lot of people are guessing. It seems like, and that assuming that's an option that's on the table. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to think that that's likely. And I mean, they could bring, who knows, Cesaro shows up or something.
Well, because he was under contract, wasn't he?
Who's that?
Davey Smith for WWE at one time, wasn't he?
Once upon a time. I feel like he jumped around a lot. I don't know what the deal was.
I thought he, like, recently they had him. He was never on TV, and they just released him during
Could
Legend
be.
Cuts. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure at some point they signed and released him because almost everyone can claim that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think there's a good chance whoever it is going to win it.
Yeah.
Most likely. Although you could see novelty is not the right word, but you could see, like, because Owen, I think, was fantastic as a bad guy. So I could see a bad guy winning it just because, like, that's the kind of thing that, from the little bit that I could tell of Owen's work, I could see them having Adam Cole win just because people would hate it and he could run with it.
I don't think I remember Owen playing a good guy.
He was, but it was always, like, very boring because, like, High Energy with Coco Beware, the New Foundation with the anvil, when they put the anvil in the MC Hammer pants, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, so like you said, it was kind of forgettable, but when he's a bad guy, okay.
Yeah, no, he was very good at the obnoxious bad guy.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we got, next match was Punk and John Silver, which was, Punk worked a little bit on the heel side on this, but not a ton. Definitely has accepted that Long Island does not like him. which I do love that they allow MJF to basically be a good guy in Long Island.
Sure.
Even though he's not doing much different, like the crowd's behind him. But you can, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so this match is pretty standard. Like, there's no way Silver was winning this match.
I think Johnny Hungy, I think he tries too hard to get over with his I think he just needs to tone it down. I think he's at a 10. He needs to tone it down to maybe a 7.
Yeah, and, like, turn it up occasionally.
Because he's like, I'm the meat man, but he's like, I'm the meat man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like,
well, it's one of those things where, I mean, it does make him stick out, but you could definitely switch it up with him, I think. I mean, they do this with a few people already, so I don't know if you want to do more of it, where he's a little more serious, but he does, like, the obnoxious stuff more to, like, get his, like, have a couple heels that he fights in a row, where he does that to, like, make them irrationally angry at him.
Yeah.
And then he, like, kind of gets the advantage on them because they get, like, emotional about it, as opposed to him just being, like, at 10 all the time, I guess. Like, 'cause, I mean, he's super good, though. So, like, the whole Dark Order is becoming a little bit stale, for sure.
They need to get rid of the Dark Order.
Or like disband it, basically. Like an amicable, though, where they all agree, like, hey, we're going to do different things, but we're still friends. Still have them, like, help each other occasionally, but it's just not Dark Order. Especially, like, I'm very sad that Stu is apparently gone, because he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, seems like they could have did more with him, but it is what it is.
I mean, he's
wanted more money.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, like, he's really good in the ring, but he wasn't, like, the most engaging character.
Well,
so
even Evil Uno, I mean, man.
Right. Well, Uno does a lot of backstage and side stuff for him, so
Sure.
he theoretically has more value. And I mean, Uno is a better talker theoretically than Stu was. Again, I am very sad to see him gone, but, like, obviously, like, the way AEW does stuff, like, Stu can go and do, like, indie stuff, and he can still occasionally show up on AEW. Like, I think there's that, assuming that, you know, there's no hard feelings between them. It was just like, oh, okay, I'll go do something else, and then maybe we can come around to it, kind of thing. Like, he might show up for a single night, whereas other places that's probably less likely to happen.
Yeah.
So they did a few stare down moments, like during the intro with Hangman, who was on commentary. On commentary, like, I love Hangman, but he is not good on commentary at all.
He's a fun. I don't know. You got to find him in the right spot. The way the lovable drunk,
right,
is probably the best way to do with the Hangman
currently. Well, I'm liking where he's basically heel right now. I would say, like, is, you know, somewhere else he probably would have got booed, but since Long Island hates Punk because the whole MJF thing, he's getting cheered a lot. But the edge he has, I think, could definitely work for him right now. I just don't think he's not bad on commentary, but like commentary is not his thing, for sure.
Yeah,
but
he's a forgettable champion.
I mean, match wise, I would disagree with that. But overall, like until now, he's not shown too much. Like the Cole where he shoved him in the face thing, it was like, look at me when I'm talking to you, that kind of stuff. Like that's when it was like, okay, we're starting to get something here.
The reason I say he's a forgettable, I'm not talking about as a wrestler. I'm talking about as a whole.
Yeah.
So you had Chris Jericho, John Moxley, Omega, Hangman, and then we assume CM Punk's going to win.
Right.
Out of all those people that's had the belt, people were like, oh yeah, I guess Hangman did have the belt. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
I think that's fair. I mean, he's also the absolutely least established out of all of those people. So, I mean, if you compare anyone else to those people, it's like, but yeah, so Punk uses the most awkward buckshot lariat possible.
Yeah.
And literally, I saw him on the outside, and I was like, well, he does the springboard clothesline thing. I was like, I could see him doing a buckshot. And then I was like, I don't know if Punk, like, obviously he's athletic if he's doing the springboard still. But I honestly thought, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen him flip forward like that.
Sure.
Because if he falls doing that, things are very different. So I would assume he practiced that throughout the day.
Yeah, but I think if he would have failed miserably, I think CM Punk could have pulled that off. Like, it ain't my move. He could have been like, well, the move sucks. That's why it didn't work.
Yeah, but it changes, like, the next, 10 minutes of TV is very different if that happened.
Oh, sure.
Although I imagine Hangman would have legitimately laughed on commentary, because I'm sure there was a conversation. He was like, just don't fall, because that's going to be bad. But yeah, so Hangman gets mad. At least they didn't bring up, like, you used my finishing. Like, he was just mad at that was clearly a jab at him. And this isn't going to turn into I'm sure Hangman is going to use the GTS next week. There's no way that he's not. But so they get like a back and forth kind of. Hangman flips him off. But yeah, like that'll be a pretty good match. I'll be curious to see what the crowd actually does when we get to Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Tony Nese obliterates Danhausen due to distraction.
Yeah.
Hook comes out for the save.
I thought Danhausen had a good look about him, actually. I was expecting him to look more goofy looking. He actually didn't look too bad when he got in the ring. I was like, okay.
He is in decent shape. Like, I mean, he's not like a body guy, but if you look for older pictures of him, like he used to actually be bigger. And I think there was an interview where he kind of said, like, he wanted to be less big for what he was going for because it makes more sense. And it's also easier to maintain.
Sure.
But yeah, like, I mean, he clearly works out,
Sure.
which is weird because that character doesn't seem like a character that would work out.
Sure.
Technically, he ended up cursing Mark Sterling, which, although it did not pay off immediately, later in the night, it turned out that his curse was effective.
Yes.
Almost like it was just dumb luck.
Tony Nese needs maybe Hook can do it. I mean, he has the look and everything. He's just boring. He's like Jungle Boy.
Well, I mean, they got him with Sterling now, which I will say Sterling has an excess of personality.
He reminds me of Remember Colonel Parker in WCW? That's who he reminds me of. Yeah,
like in a lawyer version.
Well, yeah.
Like if Colonel Parker would have went to law school, he'd be Mark Sterling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you see? I think it was on BTE. The Mark Sterling class action lawsuit against Danhausen commercial.
Yeah.
That is fantastic stuff. And I mean, he's basically like the scummy lawyer, so he shows up in like other companies as well.
Yeah.
He is nailing it. Good for him.
See, I like him with Tony Nese. I do not like him with Jade. I think Jade over.
Yeah, Jade.
I mean, Jade doesn't need him, basically.
Right. I'm wondering if he was there as the safety net initially.
Sure.
And now it's like, okay. Because, like, Red Velvet and Hogan with her works really good.
Yeah.
Red Velvet comes across, I assume she's probably a nice human being, but she perfectly fits in with that group.
Sure.
Like, her with the attitude works for me a lot better in the ring.
Well, being associated with Cody and Randy.
Well, yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, like, I think the baddies are a pretty good faction.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So, let's see. But yeah, so basically they distract Danhausen. He just eats the knee in the corner straight away, and then they just start to keep doing it till Hook saves him. But yeah, so Hook's still like completely playing everything straight. Danhausen is Danhausen. So it looks like we're getting like a tag match with Danhausen and Hook against Nese and possibly Mark Sterling.
Yeah.
I'm still okay with what they're doing. I don't think anything they've done has hurt Hook yet.
I think it's a fine tightrope actor walking there.
Yes.
They gotta be careful.
Yeah, they definitely have to be careful, but I think Taz will be there as well, though. Like, making sure that nothing super stupid happens.
Because, yeah, I mean, you can get to the point of, it could be something magical like RK Bro, or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that was just complete disaster. That's like, this is dumb. I can't think of an act. But
the Nightmare Collective comes to mind.
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Yes, it could go, but if they... I mean, basically, like, my guess is going to be, at some point, Hook is going to distract Mark Sterling, or Hook is going to distract someone by doing the curse thing, and then Danhausen will hit them with something, and everybody will love it, and then probably just move on, but Danhausen and Hook remain friends over time.
Well, I mean, even pairing Danhausen with Hook, I guess, because Danhausen can be the talker, and Hook can be Taz, basically.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where it's like it's weird that they're friends, but that doesn't mean they have to constantly be involved together. They can just occasionally do stuff, and then by proxy, it gives Hook a little bit more personality just by it feels like Hook has more personality by just not doing anything when Danhausen does the weird stuff. Like, he's just it's like an osmosis deal. It's kind of weird. All right. Contract signing, MJF Wardlow. I love that they added the Boo Wardlow to the sign.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Like, this whole segment was pretty good. Like, Wardlow didn't, like, get all freaked out when, like, he wasn't playing the, I can't believe it, or, oh, I can't believe the crowd's booing me. He just was like, yeah, of course this would happen.
They've pretty much made Wardlow into a better version of Goldberg, basically.
Yeah, well, because he can actually wrestle as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And, I mean, Wardlow comes across as cool, I guess. Yeah. Like, I mean, he's not like, a cigarette's not going to look cool if he's smoking it kind of look, but he's still, like, a cool-looking guy. Like, the presentation's good. Whatever. But yeah, so MJF is going to make him do basically relive Cody, because he is friends with the roller coaster. So, but yeah, he's going to take the lashings and then do a cage match. So, somewhere in this, it's going to turn into a legitimate beatdown, I think. Yeah. Maybe at the lashings, because I'll assume he'll still be handcuffed. Spears is going to come in and beat him with a chair as well.
I read that they're like, MJF really has heat with Tony Khan with AEW because he keeps mentioning this. I'm thinking MJF is he never breaks character.
Yeah,
I
like,
100%
pretty
can
much
see
never.
him. I can 100% see him saying to Tony Khan, like, "Hey, let's make it look like I really want to leave this company."
Yeah,
I could totally see him saying that. So,
yeah. Well, and the thing is,
mean,
like,
I mean, when
wrestling.
you're on Twitter and someone says, I came down with COVID, and it's a shame that I can't see my boy tonight, MJF," and MJF responds, "I'm glad you won't be there because I don't want COVID."
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Like
that's pretty
he's. I mean,
yeah,
the thing is, if you're a fan of, like, if I were to interact with MJF, and he were to be nice to me, I'd kind of be let down.
sure.
Like, I don't want him to, like, kick me in the groin or anything, but if he, like, flips me off, or, like, if I ask for an autograph and instead he were to write "get effed," I'd be like, well, of course he did.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Well, we tell little kids and autographs, signings, like, "You're an accident," and I mean, something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, good grief.
Yeah, well, again, like, I say that one's on the, like, you know what you're getting.
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like, if you were to ask MJF to do an interview, you need to understand, like, and I think someone mentioned once, like, their PR, when people reach out, are like, you do understand what you're getting, right? Like,
I wonder if they have to put, like, have you ever been to those restaurants that insult you?
yeah. Well, I know what you're talking
Well,
about.
no,
though.
but there's like a disclaimer before
Yeah.
you enter. Like, I wonder if there's like a disclaimer in, like, autograph signings
for
like
MJF.
MJF is going to be MJF's character. So just so you know,
Like, and at this point, we don't even know if it's a character. Like,
yeah,
he's like Batman at this point. We really don't
Exactly.
know. Well, and the thing is, too, like, because if the wrestling journalists report stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
MJF, you don't know for sure.
Sure.
I saw someone said something to, like, Sean Ross Sapp about something. He's like, but what do you do if, like, you get worked by one of the wrestlers or something, and because I think, like, the Juice Robinson thing, there was an interview where he made it seem like he was leaving and then he re-signed with New Japan or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, if that happens, then you just go, oh, they got me, and you move
Yeah.
on. Like,
Sure.
they're wrestlers. That's what they're. There's a chance that they're gonna work. Like,
Yep.
like, even Hangman interviews, he kind of plays it in kayfabe when
Yeah.
he talks about opponents and stuff. A lot of times, like, it's weird. Which is better though, because then it's like, at least they're, like, keeping the act alive a little bit better.
Yeah.
So Wardlow sneaks his way out of the handcuffs or whatever by pretending to not be able to write while handcuffed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so poor Sean Spears is going to get annihilated, I think. Well, maybe not, because MJF's the special ref. So something screwy is going to happen.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the match where it was Austin and Dude Love, where McMahon was the referee?
Oh yeah.
And basically McMahon was knocked out, but Austin just grabbed his hand and counted 3, and they counted it.
Yeah.
I
no.
kind of predict that. That would be my
Oh
prediction.
yeah. I can see that.
I hope they use a normal cage, though. I do not want the Cody cage that's 9 stories high. Although I don't think Spears or Wardlow are going to do anything crazy. Unless if it's a smaller cage and Wardlow does the moonsault. I could see that.
Yeah, maybe. But I don't see it.
Let's see here. So Ricky Starks and Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Good match. What's his face? Keith Lee and Swerve end up costing Jungle Boy technically. But yeah, I did not think Jungle Boy should be the one to beat Starks and take the FT title.
No.
I would be okay with it if for sure Starks and Hobbs were getting the tag belts. But yeah.
I wish they would hurry up and have Christian turn on them, because I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, you're impatient at this point.
Well, it's like the Julia Hart and the House of Black. It's like, come on, this end this already.
Yeah, it's like, be like, okay, we get it. You guys can do some things quicker. Maybe with Julia Hart, there was like, crap, we waited too long. Now we have to wait longer so that they're happy that we just finally did it.
Yeah.
Like, we missed the window of opportunity. We got to try to open it back up.
Yeah.
So we got the Wizard, Chris Jericho, which it's so dumb, but I love it. I hope he does like other I hope he just starts doing like really tacky magic tricks.
Well, it's the way he said it too. He's like, "I got a fireball because I'm a wizard." It's just, I don't know. This is weird.
It's fantastic. I would be okay though. Lean into it even more. Like start wearing like a wizard's robe to the ring.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But,
Full Gandalf outfit.
Yeah, like just full on. I'm thinking like Merlin, like purple robe with like moons and gems on it or whatever.
Jericho is the only person I can think that could actually pull. Like, yeah, sure, it's Jericho. Why wouldn't he wear that type thing?
I mean, his over exaggeration is usually pretty on point. They're sticking with the AEW Galaxy.
Yeah.
I do like at one point, I don't know where it was. Maybe it was Excalibur. They're like, well, the Jericho Appreciation Society is going to have a victory speech for whatever reason we're allowing this.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. Where, I mean, I do like it when the announcers are annoyed by the heels as well.
Sure.
With like subtle jab. Like,
The
no
only
one's
problem-
happy when MJF comes on commentary.
AEW, it's hard. I mean, as much as I don't like Pat McCann, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
table guy, he's really good heel announcer.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan was a really good heel announcer. AEW needs a heel announcer.
Yeah, like a permanent fixture.
Permanent.
I mean, Taz is technically that, but he's not on Dynamite. Hardly ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I imagine one day Jim Ross will retire and maybe they'll fill in for him with like a heel. But yeah, I mean, granted, there are times where JR is clearly the heel in the room, depending on how he feels that day.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like we're gonna get what's it called, the Blackpool Combat Club, and Eddie and Santana and Ortiz. So, is the Jericho Appreciation Society going to add a member?
Yeah, I think.
Or are they going to take somebody out? Because I think Yuta is going to the Super Juniors tournament. Is that right? In New Japan?
Okay.
So he might be gone for a while.
I don't know what other annoying person they could put in there. So.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to bring somebody in, I think.
I mean, I can't think of anybody that's really. I mean, Tony Nese is up there as being annoying a little bit.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
him, maybe.
I think it's more likely that they just don't have Yuta involved as much.
Sure.
Or I don't know, since I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be doing something with New Japan in like one of their tournaments for a while. So maybe JAS beats him down to write him off TV for a little bit.
Yeah.
But see, that's weird because like New Japan exists. Like it's not like he's going to the Void. So
well, and they have a partnership with New Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, because like WWE, if that was happening, for example, which it wouldn't, but when somebody goes to film a movie, you can beat them down, and the outside world doesn't exist. AEW is different. I mean, they could literally just do a scene where Regal's like, "Hey, you're going to Japan to represent us there. We'll take care of this." And
I can see
like, it's funny because like that's the simplest thing, but that's my brain, because of past experience. Still, that's not where I go immediately.
Sure.
But yeah, so there's a beatdown. Jericho sells a punch for Regal like death, which I thought was fine.
Sure.
I'm surprised because Regal didn't pull out the brass knucks, did he?
No, I don't think he did.
Okay. Like that's coming at one day. Like he's gonna pull out the knucks on somebody, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Like I imagine like something will happen, and like one of the heels is like staring down Regal, and it's like, oh, Regal's like an old guy. This might not be good for him. And then he knocks him out with the knucks, and everybody loves it.
Yep.
All right. So we got some Owen Hart stuff. Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm. I thought this match was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was. I think the baddies with Jade
Yeah.
is what Hater, Reba, and
Britt.
DMD is trying to be, and they just can't do it for some reason.
Uh,
In my opinion.
Jamie Hayter doesn't have. She has personality and stuff, but she doesn't have the right personality to make that work.
Yep.
Rebel is not any kind of a threat.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, the baddies are basically the evolved version of this.
Yep.
Which is fine. I mean, like, because, I mean, this group is all about Britt Baker for sure. Like, Jamie
Sure.
Hayter is just like an afterthought. Although, clearly, she is super good in the ring.
Yeah.
So-
One would argue she's better than Britt Baker.
I mean, I don't even know that that's an argument. Now, the
Yeah.
character work, like, being engaging or whatever, like getting the crowd reaction, she doesn't have that. I mean, she's also not as had the same opportunities that Britt's had at this point. Like,
Sure.
because as soon as Britt started to get over with the heel thing, they really went all in on it.
Well, that's the only thing that bothers me about Britt Baker. She acts like, and this might just be me. I don't know, but she acts like she's like a Charlotte, you know,
Right?
and she's nowhere near that.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
I would give credit that she is aware that she's not at that level, but she still
Yeah.
needs to portray herself at that level.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Because, like, think of humble Brit that was a good guy, did not work.
No, yeah, I
So-
agree.
So heel, I mean, you're obviously supposed to be obnoxious. So, I mean, she's still getting better. I mean, she had a huge jump when she returned, basically, where like you could tell she had been putting in work. So, again, like over time, like I think it'll be fine. But then you see
Yep.
it where like Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm are ring work quality way better than her.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Because again, like my thing is like those spots of hesitation, you don't really see that quite the same.
Nope.
But yeah, this good match. Toni Storm. I never thought of basically like a snap pile driver. That's like a almost out of nowhere thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like she could probably work that into it where it's like you'd be surprised how quick you can get pile driven if you're not careful. Because I hope that she has like an enhancement match with somebody and they do the whole back body drop spot
Yeah.
and she just yanks them right there. And it's just like you didn't expect the match to end there and it's over because she just pile driven.
Their women's division's getting better.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because Kenny Omega is not doing as much with it because he's out of it.
I think they're just getting the people that can wrestle in there. And I mean, there's no way that they're not trying to make it better. Like that's one of their biggest criticisms, and it's not a wrong criticism either.
Because I thought recently, and I could be wrong by this, I thought they hired Medusa to help them out with them.
I heard there was something to do with like talking with Medusa and Maria Kanellis, but that might have
Yeah.
been for Ring of Honor. And it could be that they're just trying to make it work. I mean, like if you look at the women's Owen tournament, like they're getting time for their matches.
Sure.
Like it's not like a 3-minute match that just doesn't make any sense. Like they're getting some legitimate matches. So that brings up a question though. Do you have any guess as to the Joker for the women's tournament?
I think it's going to be what's her face, Johnny, whatever his name is.
Candice LeRae?
Yeah, his wife.
I don't know because she's having a
kinda
kid
weird.
or
I
had
don't
a
know how to-
kid.
Say what?
She had like a baby, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know.
I don't know. So I'm just going on dirt sheets.
Yeah.
I thought that they said that she was ready to go.
Maybe I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I'm
I don't know.
not super with it on that one, but yeah, I don't know. 'Cause I
don't
haven't
know.
really heard anything. I've heard people talk about like her going there, or read more specifically. Like I haven't heard anything like that. I can't think of anyone at this point that could show up that I'm aware of that would be a big surprise that's not signed in some way.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you just want to go out there and not make any sense whatsoever, it's have Miro's wife come in, I guess. But I mean,
oh man, that would be. She's a good personality, but I saw, she was not the best wrestler. She was getting better, but she definitely had a ways to go.
I think what was her name? Amber Moon? Was that her name?
Athena? Yeah,
Athena?
that would be a good one.
She could do it. You could get the Rock's cousin. What's her name?
Yeah.
I don't even know what her name was.
Nia Jax is who it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it just wouldn't. I don't know. This wouldn't make sense. I don't think. You know.
Yeah. I'm looking through a few things. Yeah, Candice LeRae's listed. Athena, which was Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Our couple. Let's see. Maki Ito.
Brandy Rhodes. I mean, you can bring her back.
That'd be hilarious. I would like to see Ember Moon there, Athena. Personally, like, I thought she was really good. I'd love her to not use the finisher that she was using, like the flipping stunner off the top, because my back would be sore in the morning just watching that. So
I don't know. If you wanted an instant heel and you want people to hate, Brandy Rhodes is the person to do.
Yeah, it would be super weird for her to show up for that.
Yeah.
Especially with no one would expect it. That's for sure.
Well, and everyone would hate it if you want her to be a super heel.
Yeah.
And win it. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, like, is she just like Goldberg's people?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, just hey, people would. I mean, you can make fortune off it.
It would be the worst thing. And she comes out with Dan Lambert.
Yes.
Like, they team up now.
Yes.
And Sammy. Sammy leaves Ty for her.
Yeah.
Even though it makes no sense. Like, just put them all together.
Yes.
But yeah, so Tony Storm wins this one. Pile drivers winning matches is weird. Because again,
WWE's train you.
Yeah, well, I mean, AEW's not innocent as well. So, like, I do like that there are people who will use a move that's like someone else's finishing move as like just a normal move sometimes. Like, it's not like 100% outlawed. So, all right. So, main event. Or were you about to say something else?
I'm just saying, I was going to just comment on the pile driver. The pile driver should be a finishing move because realistically, if you did a pile driver to somebody, it would probably take them out. So.
Most likely. Unless you're Riddick Moss.
Yes.
Because apparently that dude's neck is insane.
Yes.
Because when he got dumped on his head with that Alabama Slam thing, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we get main event time here. Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy. And then they even, like, when Darby does, like, the normal promos, it's hit or miss for that stuff. When it's like, people really just want to see us go to the hospital, so let's not pretend that it's going to be a wrestling match. Kind of stuff. Like, I thought that was fine. And
legitimately,
I thought they were going to the hospital.
Yeah, legitimately, anytime I watch Darby Allin, and especially when he makes comments like that, I'm thinking this guy is going to do something where he can actually probably get hurt, and I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah. Be like, and I'm going to hope it goes as well as possible, but I know there's a chance that I'm going to have a memory that I don't want.
Like when he jumps off the damn ladder, I'm like, oh god, I hope he doesn't get his head stuck in the in the thing and it cracks or whatever, you know.
Well, I mean, that's the biggest spot of the match, I would say. I would argue Jeff swantoning the stairs was up there.
Sure.
Although Jeff swantoning the stairs looked if I had to choose between two things on stairs, that versus when Archer did the blackout to Hangman on the stairs.
Yeah.
I'll take swantoning the stairs every day.
Yes.
Holy crap. But yeah, when they set up those all the chairs Like
Yeah.
Darby set the chairs up early on, and I was like, well, something is going to probably off the apron or like a springboard or something. And I was like, wait, I don't think I've seen Jeff or Darby springboard.
Yeah.
So it ain't going to be that. I was like, maybe a suplex off the apron. And then later on, I see the ladder come out, and I'm like, oh, man. And then he's still pulling the ladder out, and I'm like, oh, no, it's a big ladder. And I was like, well, Darby's going to be the one taking that, right? Like, Jeff, he's not in the best shape, and he's older. There's no way he's doing that. And then when it got to that
Darby's
spot.
an idiot.
Yeah. And then when it got to that spot, and Jeff was climbing, I was like, oh, no, Jeff is going to take it. And then thank God he didn't. Although, at the same time, he caught Darby as well as he could on that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Darby
he
was
definitely-
real close to being off to the side a little too much.
Yeah. My sister said, she goes, Sammy Guevara is going to have a short career because of some of the stuff he does. I was like, have you seen the stuff that Darby does?
Yeah. I mean, the only benefit for Darby is he's so much smaller.
Yeah.
It's like when you drop an ant from really high, it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt him because they don't have the same velocity. That's the only thing I can think of that, like, but there's no way that doesn't put a hurt on you for a while.
Yeah.
Like, holy moly. Like, it was, I mean, I feel like they delivered what they said it was going to be of a spectacle.
Yeah. I was glad Sting didn't do it. I don't want to.
Jeez, oh, Pete. I'm surprised, like, it wouldn't have shocked me if Sting ran in the ring and then Darby was like, no, not this time. Like, that would have been funny. But it would have kind of killed the way the match went. But the other thing was Darby did his dive to Jeff in the beginning. And I swear that might have been one of the worst ones. Because Jeff just ate it right in the sternum.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the one, like, was it Gun Club that ate it, like, legit blindsided? Like, I really don't think they turned to see when he was going to hit him.
Yeah.
Arguably, that was worse because he hit them higher, too. Like, I
Yeah.
think he got some head contact on that. But, man, like, Darby's dive is just I've never seen anyone do it like that.
I'm just going to throw my body
As
hopefully,
hard as I can.
Yeah,
And I
hopefully
hope you don't
catch me.
sidestep me.
Yes. And you know what? If you do, better entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and Darby and Jeff both, especially with what we know about Jeff, like being kind of banged up and just expecting it. Like, Jeff sells like he's really hurt. Darby sells like he's really hurt. But it's like, well, if they're really hurt, I'd believe it because he just jumped 20 feet onto some chairs.
Well, when you said sidestep, didn't Billy Gunn do that to
Oh, I think he
Darby?
did. Yeah.
Darby? He threw it, and Billy just threw him right into the guardrail.
I would love to know the conversation behind that. And
Yeah.
he was like, I'm going to do my dive. I'm not taking your dive. He's like, okay, just move out of the way.
Yeah.
And Billy Gunn being like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I mean, it would make sense that I would try it, and it makes sense that you'd move out of the way. That's fine. I'll just
Yeah.
kind of roll a little bit as I hit the ground. All
No,
right.
as
And I'm
big
sure
as
Billy
Billy
Gunn's
is.
like, your body.
No, as big as Billy is, I mean, I get to see him doing his dive and bouncing off of Billy, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
the moment, I would be interested to see it. Like, if Billy actually tried to just, like, take it like a shoulder tackle and knock him down, what would happen?
Well, like Billy Gunn said in the RJ City, whatever it is, that little thing he does, because RJ City was like, aren't you, he's like, you're just big. And Billy Gunn's he's like, because I was surrounded by big guys all my life.
Yeah.
So he's like, when you go to AEW, you got smaller people here. So he's like, I look gigantic.
Well, even when he'd show up, like, more recent times, like,
Yeah.
it's always stunning how big Billy Gunn is.
Oh.
And then to think, like, how small you thought he was. Like,
Yeah.
X-Pac's kind of the same way. Because he's, I think he's slightly bigger than Shawn Michaels, but it never seemed like it.
Nope.
So,
Well, that and he hung out with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't help.
yeah.
It's like, well, like quarterbacks look small a lot of the times because they're surrounded by the offensive line. And then you
Yeah,
see them and you're
exactly.
like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
that's crazy that there's that many big guys in one place at one time.
Yeah.
The other thing, I forget where it was. I don't know if it was during this show. I guess the Gun Club and the Acclaimed are going to be a faction.
I think that was last week, but yeah.
Yeah, the I can't believe I'm saying that I'm
That's 'cause I
excited
think-
for that, but
I think because one of them is hurt, isn't it? In the Acclaimed.
what's his name? Not Caster. The other guy.
I thought Caster was the one that's hurt.
I thought it was Bowen's knee.
I don't know. It's one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Either way, they got personality to spare.
They're-
So does the
they're
Gun
both-
Club.
Well, the problem is they're both accident prone, but they have personality.
Yeah.
It's
Well, at
weird.
least they're not hurt at the same time. But
Sure.
I mean, I could see this working out, like, because I think the Acclaimed they're good. Gun Club will be fine. Like, they're super obnoxious as well. It
Yeah.
could end up being a really good faction if they keep with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that for that. Rampage, I don't know that there was, like, I read the results for Rampage because, again, it came on at like noon.
I totally missed it because I was out farming. So
Yeah, it's a big thing. Ruby Soho beats Rio,
okay.
and then Sean Spears beat Bear Boulder with the C4. You had the Death Triangle match. Scorpio Sky is a no good, dirty son of a gun. Is my takeaway from that. But
Is he a bad guy again?
Yeah, they did that. I kind of wish they'd go the other way, but they did a pretty good job of it. The way they did it, like, it was the old fake out, like, oh, I'm going to argue with my partner. Not really.
Man.
Yeah. It was Ethan Page, I mean. But it does set up Scorpio Sky and Frankie for the California show, which I assume that's where they were going with it anyway.
I think Scorpio Sky is going to be the Shawn Michaels, and Frankie is the Marty Jannetty. Frankie's is boring.
Yeah, I mean, when he does, because they did, like, I saw, like, the backstage promo thing they did. I don't know if that was, like, on the show or, like, but I caught the clip of it. Like, he cut, like, a brief promo being, like, angry at Sky.
Yeah.
And, like, anytime he does that stuff, he's really good at it.
He is.
But,
Yeah.
Like, there's just something doesn't work.
Yeah, he just me.
Yeah. Like, the other times, it just doesn't work. But yeah, so that's what we got there. Well, we're pretty long on that. Like,
Yeah. Well, let's just wrap it up because I'm gonna have to be leaving here pretty soon.
So we can do that. So we should be back next week.
Yes.
And then it's going to be real. So the Saturday after that, I'm going to make no promises for being awake because my work. So currently I'm like a 2 to 10:30 shift, but for the summer, I work 6 to 2:30. So
Okay.
I'm going to be tired for like 2.5 months straight. I have the feeling because I'm over for shift. I've determined, and I consider myself a morning person. But you know what? I don't think anyone's wake up at 5:30 in the morning person.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Like waking up at 7, waking up at 8, maybe. Waking up at 5:30, no. Not happening. I might be back on the caffeine after for a little while. So, all right, everybody. We will return next week.
Dum dum dum.
Yum.